I love attracting the best and releasing the rest because there's
Mhm.
somebody else's best. So
Right.
off they go to find their person. Awesome.
Y'all, today's show is so good.
But number one, I've never seen an intro like that.
It is my hope and desire that not only will episode 30 still be fun, but episode 300 will be even more fun. You were made for something great, so go and be awesome.
Ten seconds remaining.
Hello, and welcome to the show. My name is Renee Hastings, and I'm your host of Renee Speaks. Y'all, today's show is going to be so amazing, and partly because of our incredible sponsor, Wilbron. Wilbron is Alabama's premier public relations firm. If y'all have any PR needs, be sure to hit them up at www.wilbron.com. Now, let me tell you about our fantastic guest. Our guest name is Catharine O'Leary, and she is known as the Quiz Queen, and she's an expert in client engagement. With over 3 decades in market research and consumer insights, she specializes in attracting ideal clients and boosting revenue. Her approach uses questions to foster strong client relationships and grow businesses. Y'all, put your hands together for Catharine O'Leary. Hey,
Hey.
Catharine, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I am fantastic. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for being on our show today. I can't wait to just dive in just immediately into your subject matter expertise, which is questioning, always being curious. That's one of the things, the strategies that you use for helping people to grow in their network and in their engagement with the people that they're trying to meet. So, Catharine, how did you actually get started down this path? What was your aha moment that helped you discover that this was a thing?
Yeah, that's a great question because you don't usually grow up wanting to be a quiz queen. I wanted to be the Wolf of Wall Street. So I right? Yeah, that sounded good. I went to school. I actually have 2 degrees in economics. I'm an economist. And one of the big things with microeconomics is consumer behavior. So it's always kind of been a fascination of mine as to why somebody would, for example, two exact same cars on the lot, right down to the tires, the exact same cars. The only difference is one car is red and one car is blue, and people will take the red car over the blue car, but they're the exact same other than the color. So there's something in the color that actually gives people value. And so understanding why people, chose the things they chose and what they actually would look at and say, yeah, that's important to me and that's not, and helping corporations really understand, the consumer psychology behind that was fascinating to me. And I had a really long corporate career in that, in helping, basically corporations ask customers what they wanted, needed, and desired, and then translating that information into what corporate needed, which was innovation or, marketing messages or sales conversations or whatever that was. And it was great. I mean, I had a lot of fun. I worked with Pepsi, I worked with Apple, I worked with, Adobe, HP, even worked with BlackBerry back in the day.
Wow.
Um,
I had a BlackBerry.
oh, I miss my BlackBerry. Yeah, we could. That's a whole nother conversation, Renee. That's a whole nother episode. But always with that you know that mindset of what can we ask, how can we serve, what can be made either new or better, in what these corporations are doing. And when I left corporate after my last corporate job was with Pepsi, which was amazing, I realized that I didn't want to I wanted to try something new. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. What I really wanted to do was get rid of my commute, because be
Mhm.
where I live, it was an hour and a half to the city one way. So it was a 3-hour daily commute.
Yeah,
And I was kind of burnt out from that.
yeah, yeah.
So I didn't know how to. I don't know if any of you out there, kind of went through this, but you don't quite know how to package all that experience of corporate into something that's on without kind of being, copying the corporate life. I didn't want to, create something that was going to give me a corporate life again. So I wasn't sure what to do. So I actually started in network marketing and direct sales. I was in personal development courses, and, the courses were great. People were great. The events were great. What I found out quickly was I was really good at attracting leads. I was really bad at attracting quality leads. So
Mm.
I
Mm.
would be spinning my wheels on conference or on sales calls that went nowhere. I was throwing money like it was no tomorrow at paid ads that had no return on investment. And
Mm.
I got to the point where, ugh, like, like you're hiding under the covers, and you're like, I got to figure this out. Either I figure this out or I go back to corporate. And it took me maybe about 3 seconds to realize that there are not enough podcasts or audiobooks in the world to get me back in the car for 3 hours a day. Like,
Right,
wasn't gonna happen,
right.
right? So,
Good.
I had to figure it out. I got a coach. He introduced me to quiz funnels, and, I realized, "Oh, that's how this all works together in an entrepreneurial setting." Uh
Mm.
I can create these, curious, you know, feedback loops for entrepreneurs to get to know that get to know their target audience a little bit better. Their target audience gets to know them. It's a win-win, and you're getting the right people into your sales calls and into your webinars and your master classes, as opposed to what I was doing before, which was everybody with a heartbeat, which is not a
Mhm.
qualification for
No,
anyone out there.
definitely not.
So, yeah, I created a quiz for my network marketing business. I was able to triple my leads and double my sales. And I went forward and created a couple of quizzes for some colleagues as tests to make sure it wasn't just a one off. And those
Mhm.
had really good results as well, similar results. So I just kind of never looked back from there.
Wow. Wow, how exciting, and what a discovery. I mean, first of all, kudos to you for making the leap from corporate America to entrepreneurship. That takes such courage, and I know the commute was an incentive, but it's a difficult choice for a lot of people to make. So I'm proud of you for making that choice and betting on yourself and figuring out what it would take, what success looks like, and what it takes to get there. So I love that. And the fact that you got a coach who introduced you to these quiz funnels. I mean, the way you describe it makes me I just want to know more and more and more. And tell me about these quiz funnels. What is that all about?
Yeah, so I mean, one of the things that corporate does really well is they talk to their end consumer. They ask questions, they do focus groups, they do surveys that are these great big huge, initiatives to really kind of understand why their consumers are doing the things that they do. Not all entrepreneurs have those kind of budgets. I mean, like with HP, we had a 2-year program. It was probably 3 million, and it was over 8 countries. Okay, we don't all have that budget. I get that, right? So, but there are ways that you can be, making sure that you're delivering what your clients need, because you just have to ask. And there are tools that we can use to ask. The thing is that consumers won't tell you what the next widget is. They can't tell you what the next, big thing is, but they can
Mhm.
tell you what they're struggling with. They can
Right.
tell you what they want, like what the ideal situation would be. And then it's up to us as business owners and as people that serve our communities to figure out what that offer is or what that service is. But we need to know what our consumers are struggling with, and what their pain points are and what their desires are before we can do that. So we got to ask. And that's what quizzes can
Mhm.
do. Quizzes can put you into a, a conversation with your, ideal client, where they're kind of going on a bit of a journey with you to say, what is stopping me from going from 6 to 7 figures? Well, let's dig into that a little bit. Where are you currently at? What systems do you currently have? What team do you currently have? Why, what stopped you in the past, or what do you believe is stopping you? And what does a year from now look like if this was solved? And oh, okay, you know what? There's a lot going on with somebody going from 6 to 7 figures. There's a little bit of mindset. There's a lot of technology. There's a lot of delegation, building a team. There's, leadership, conversations that tend to happen. But, what are, Renee, what are you dealing with at this moment? And as you go through the quiz, you kind of like answer the questions, you're thinking about it. You're like, oh, you know what? Like, what I'm really having problem with is, like, I've got a lot of duct tape and bubble gum in the back office. Right. So like, the IT systems are really kind of probably, my first order of business. Great.
Mhm.
That's brilliant. IT. Let's talk about that first. We're gonna get into all the other things, but let's give you some solutions for the IT, and then, let me invite you to learn more about how to go from 6 to 7 figures in a webinar or a masterclass or a call or whatever that looks like. So now Renee and I have had a little bit of a conversation almost within these questions. I've learned a little bit about where she's at. She's learned a little bit about where she's at and what she can do to, move the needle a little bit, and she's got an invite to learn more. So it's a whole kind of conversation within 5 to 8 questions, which is really powerful if you use it right.
Right. Now, and that's brilliant. And thank you so much for that summary of our overview of the quiz funnel methodology. But it's not the same questions though for for each company. Like, are the questions based on the target market that you're trying to reach or your end goal that you're trying to get to? How do you determine which questions to ask in these funnels? I mean, because I know you talked about, in the example, the back office of EHN being put together
Yeah.
with duct tape and bubblegum, and the IT being the need in your example. So how do you know? Do you base the questions on what's not working best, or what's not working the most? What's the most ineffective? How do you know how to formulate the questions?
Yeah, and that's a bit of the strategy. So there's a little bit of art meets science with this. There's no like one way to do it, which is why I love it, because it can be very creative. But for, where you want to start is that 3 a.m. question. I call it the 3 a.m. question, that your ideal client wakes up thinking, I just wish, or how can
Mhm.
I, or what's the next step, or why can't I? Like, what is that 3 a.m. question that they need solved, in
Mhm.
even in a small format, right? That they need solved, that you can help them with. So
Right.
starting there gives you that starting point. That's their problem to solve.
Mhm.
You already know the solution set that you have, because that's your offers, or that's like your next steps. So what are your zone of geniuses that you can bring to the table? And then the quiz is just simply the stepping stones. Like, if you think of the questions as between the problem to solve and your solution, they're just the stepping stones of what, like like if you sat down with a friend and went through a coffee chat, what are the basic things that you'd need to know before you ever gave a solution? Right? Like, there's some basic things that you would want to ask. Asking those questions gets you to the segments. Now, to your other question, is it always about challenges or not? No, it could be, do you have a score? Like, maybe it's a readiness score, or a,
Mhm.
are you, what is your, you know, next step? Like, it could be a superpower. It could, like, it really kind of depends on how you want to frame it for your ideal client to kind of get excited to learn more about
Mhm.
the solutions that you can provide. So there's lots of different ways that you can do it, which is where the creativity can come in, which is the fun part.
Right. Wow. Wow. Well, and that sounds so perfect. Like, just it makes perfect sense to go that route, find out what it is that they need to figure out where my superpower can come in to be the solution to their problem. I mean, it just makes sense. So, what is your favorite quiz success metric?
Oh, my favorite. It's okay. This is going to fly in the face a little bit. My favorite metric is how many people have fallen off the quiz, right? So they
Ooh.
didn't complete. And
Mhm.
I love that because it it means that the quiz is working because you're not for everyone. Your business is not for everyone. Your solutions are not for everyone. So when somebody starts the quiz and they realize, you know what, I don't even want to take like a 60-second quiz. I
Mhm.
love that because they're not my ideal client, right?
Mhm.
So I love attracting the best and releasing the rest because they're
Mhm.
somebody else's best. So
Right.
off they go to find their person. Awesome. I can now
Mhm.
concentrate on the people that, have actually committed to the next steps. And those are far more likely to be my ideal clients than, kind of the masses. So just because I spent so much time on sales conversations that didn't go anywhere and so much money on, advertising that didn't produce anything, I love it to see that the quiz actually takes those people and, you know,
There you go.
releases them into finding their person. So
Right.
that's not everyone's favorite success metric, but I like that. I like to know that the quiz is working.
Yeah, and what a great perspective to have, that if someone doesn't take your quiz, it's not the end of the world. They've done you a favor
Yeah.
by letting you know from the very beginning who they are and that
Yeah.
they are not your people.
Yeah. I mean, how much easier is life if every time that you got on a call, it was a person ready to sign up?
Right, right, exactly.
Convincing, no cajoling, no chasing, just, okay, you need some help with IT in order to get to seven figures. Let's talk a little bit about more of that. And by the way, there's a whole bunch of other stuff that we need to go through, like mindset and team and delegation. So we're going to cover it all with this course, with this mastermind, with this mentorship, whatever it is.
Right. Oh, I love that. I absolutely love it. When you speak delegation, you are speaking my language. Because I absolutely, that's what we thrive on, is when people finally get to that point where they realize they cannot be the one to do all the things.
Yeah.
If they're going to grow a successful business and go from six figures to seven, they can't do it by themselves. They're going to need a team to do that. So,
Yeah, and teams can take a whole lot of different, formats, right?
oh,
It
for
doesn't
sure.
have to be employees. It could be, I just hired an AI team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
it's, you know, uh, not a contractor, but it's somebody that's going to work with me for a year to build some AI tools. But
Awesome.
they're now my AI. Now I'm not trying to learn GPT and
Right.
try to get into the weeds of that and be an AI expert. That's not my
Right.
zone of genius. It's theirs. Let them do it.
Exactly. And that's what makes their eyes sparkle.
Yeah.
That's what gives them life and energy. They wake up to do those things. So why would we
Exactly.
deprive them of that?
Well, and it saves me from going down the rabbit hole of trying to figure it all out because I mean it's really cool stuff, which means that I'll go down the rabbit hole for a long time.
Yes, exactly. Same here. I think that's so relatable. I totally get that 100%. So, do you have any success stories? What's your favorite client success story of someone who's implemented this strategy for their business?
Yeah, I have a couple that they're recovery coaches. So they help people recover from addictions.
Okay.
And they have one of the only 3 certified courses to help people become recovery coaches. So when
Mhm.
we started working together, we came up with a what is your coaching superpower? And the segments or the outcomes were things like empathy and intuition and communication. And what I loved about this is that when they put together the results and the reports for people, they were like, great, you know what, recovery coaching really needs you like your superpower is empathy, but here's the thing, here's your kryptonite. Your kryptonite is that you tend to, like, onboard all those feelings. You tend not to have boundaries. You tend to, like, some of the kryptonite to these things. We help you in this course to make sure that you use your superpower, but also make sure that um, you're safe from the kryptonite. And that got people going, "Oh my God, that is so me. That is 100% like it was in like you were mind reading." So their sales conversations became less about explaining what the coaching was and more about which program should I be in? The beginner, the medium, or the upper tier. Like it was just a case of, here's my credit card, you tell me. So, and it was all because they took the time to really strategically think through what experience they wanted their coaches to have with the quiz, and then therefore, what the experience was to get to that call.
Got it. Got it. So you mentioned, and that's a great success story. Thank you so much for sharing that. Because when we get revelation in any area of life, things that we didn't know before, that's always a win. So
Mhm.
it's so fantastic that these quizzes are able to do that. But you mentioned just a little bit ago that you worked with a company, and sometimes the project was like 2 years long. How do
Mhm.
you keep quizzes engaging over so much time?
So that project was actually when I was in corporate. So that was a little bit different, but it's a really good question because if your quiz is more about brand and less about, I'm having an event in 2 weeks, or I've got a launch in, in October. If it's more a case of, I help entrepreneurs who want to go from 6 to 7 figures, if that's your brand, that's going to stand the test of time. Right?
Mhm.
And don't forget, for at least for a client attraction quiz, people are only usually taking it once,
Right,
right? So it
right.
should be like new people cycling through it and getting that brand experience and that outcome for you that, it's not, it's less tactics and more strategy. So it's more about how long is your brand, going to be relevant, which is usually a long time, but also
Right.
how long is that 3 a.m. question going to last for your ideal clients? If the 3 a.m. question changes for your ideal clients, then yeah, it's time to change up your quiz. But
Mhm.
most 3 a.m. questions are fairly foundational.
Right, 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 and like you said, you get a whole new stream of people each time
Yeah,
that taking the quiz. That's not a repeated test that's taken repeatedly by the same person. It's
right.
one person answering some of the same questions as long as that 3 a.m. question remains the same. But then once that 3 a.m. question changes, then you need a new group of people or the same group of people to answer a different question.
Yeah,
That
it's
sounds about
probably
right.
the same group of people, but they're now worried about something different.
Right, right. Got it. Got it. So, what trends, Catherine, do you see in consumer insights?
So, one of the things that I talk a lot about is that there's been a paradigm shift, and people need to understand this and make sure that they are taking note that we have moved from transactional based conversations where it's just about the sale to relationships. Building long-term relationships with your client and your client base is going to be more important than ever. The entire transactional side of things, like that salesy side of things that make most people go, "Bleh," there's a reason that they're not liking it anymore. It's because it doesn't resonate, right? It doesn't resonate with us. It doesn't resonate with our clients. So really pushing that, this is only available for the next 12 seconds, and yeah, exactly that look. That's exactly it. Yeah, that's the look. But instead, nurturing and getting your really knowing your ideal clients, getting them to know you, and building that kind of a community around your ideal clients, that's going to be key. And the businesses that do that well are going to be very successful, and the businesses that stay in the transactional are going to find it more and more difficult to actually attract clients. So moving into that conversation as opposed to pitch. Make an offer, don't pitch. Have a discussion, don't have a sales call. Even our language needs to change around how we are delivering these messages, because people are just like, they are wise to
Mhm.
the transactional stuff. They don't like it anymore. It turns them off. And they are looking for people are looking for interaction, especially after COVID. We're, post pandemic now, but the World Health Organization is still citing isolation and loneliness as a key, concern globally. So people want connection.
Yes.
You hear authenticity all the time now. Like,
Mhm.
it's a little overused, but at the same time, it's that person to person connection.
Yeah.
People buy from people, they don't buy from brands necessarily, or they don't just buy products, they buy the people behind it.
That's
So
right.
the more that you can be a person talking to a person, the better off you're going to be.
Wow. Wow. That was just like worth $1 million right there. Because people want connection. People want to feel like they're a part of something, and they want to feel like other people care about them. And it's so important. And I agree with you 100%. I think we're still feeling the effects of that isolation from that time. And, people, it's like it was so traumatizing. And when you have been traumatized, it takes time to get over that and to recover from that and to feel like, okay, I'm okay. I'm really okay. Do you know what I mean? And so that's the more that they can get involved in community, or the more we can make our services feel like as being for their good. We're thinking about them and what's best for them, what will help them, what they need,
Mhm.
that we're here to solve. That's more of the messaging. It sounds like was what you're saying. That's more of the messaging, instead of, you get this now, and if you order in 10 minutes and you'll get this too, and the 3 a.m. infomercials.
Exactly, exactly. And I think that, one of the things that I like to, another thing coming through in consumer insights, or just like in business in general, is collaboration. Collaborate with your competitors, right? There's no such thing as competitors anymore, right? It's just collaboration. Because honestly, there are other people that do quiz funnels, and if I'm
Mhm,
not your cup of tea, go work with them. I will
mhm,
I will actually tell you, if it's not me, go work with, Ryan, or go work with, whoever, because every business deserves a quiz. So if you're
yeah,
not going, like, if it's not going to be working with me, I get that. There's lots of abundance, and there's lots of ways that we can be lifting everyone up. So, like, I don't have to steal customers from anyone. I don't have to, put somebody else down to make my business look better. People don't react to that very well anymore, right? They don't need that. Like, the entire attack ad kind of crap. Like, people are just like, no, like, I'd rather work with somebody that is like, yeah, great. If it's not me, then it's them.
right.
Perfect. As long as you get served, as long as
Exactly.
you get what you need. And that's all I really care about. If you
Yes.
come from that place, you will have more than enough customers.
Yes, absolutely. You took the words right out of my mouth, because I feel I have said those exact same words to,
Mhm.
potential new clients, or, thinking about doing business with us. And I was like, just get help. You know that this is
Yep.
your current situation. I know we can help you, but even if you don't choose us, it's okay. Take care of yourself. This is what's
Yeah.
important. You're the important thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, totally get that. And that definitely resonates with my spirit. So, Catherine, I know we're winding down on time. How can we stay in touch with you after today's show?
Yeah, so if you go to quiz, you will find, guess what? A quiz. Imagine. So quizformybiz.com, you will actually be uncovering the missing connection gaps that stop you from getting more clients now.
I
So
love
similar to where we were talking about, going from 6 to 7 figures, this quiz actually helps you find those community or connection gaps, whether it's clarity or follow up or what it is, to make sure that you are connecting with your ideal clients as easily as possible, and how a quiz might be able to help you with that. On the back end of that is a link to my calendar. So and nobody gets on my calendar without doing the quiz, folks. Like, those are just the rules. I want to know a little bit more about you, and for you to know a little bit more about me before we get on a call. And that's probably the best way to find me.
I love it. Quiz for my biz. And I love the arm stretched outreach arms and saying, yes, yes, I got a quiz. I now know what to do. I love that. That just brings me joy. Just looking at, and the colors are amazing. They're just popping off the screen. If y'all are listening to the audio version of this, you're really missing out. You need to go to YouTube. And then it looks like you're also on LinkedIn, quizformybiz.com, for sure. Stay connected to Catharine. So if we don't get anything else out of today's conversation, Catharine, what do you want us to take away?
Just take a minute and ask, but ask with intention. Don't ask questions just for the sake of asking questions. Ask with the sake of understanding, for the sake of the intention of, I want to understand better. So use the information that you're getting, because a lot of quizzes out there right now are glorified, email captures, and that's 10% of the iceberg of what you can be using that information for, because your clients are talking to you and you're not listening. So if you're going to ask questions, ask with the intention of listening to the answers so that you can, serve your clients better.
Right. Oh, I love that. Absolutely love that. So ask questions with the intention of actually being a solution to their problem.
Exactly.
I love it. Love it. Catharine, you were made for something great. So go and be awesome.
Thank you.